guys, Aaron from Forever Rovers here, and welcome to a big news show. Big show today. Reacting to the game, Darren Moore's reaction to the game. We're going to give you the player ratings that we didn't give you in the match review from yesterday. And also we're going to talk about Max Waters, because there's been some Premier League interest for our former player. And it's sort of talking a little bit about, you know, did we make the right... I know it was pretty much out of our control financially to let Waters go and release him in the summer, especially with the collapse of the under-23s due to COVID and financials and stuff like that. But, you know, did we miss an opportunity with Max Waters? You know, is this... I mean, you know, we've talked about all the interest he's been getting. We're going to talk about that in this video. You know, should we be interested in getting him in the summer? All that talk's going to come. We're also going to react to loads of comments from the game. And also give you my player ratings that I didn't give you in the video, the match review, yesterday or last night. But we're going to talk about Darren Moore's comments, so please like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another video. Let's get straight into it, guys. So we've got Darren Moore's official comment to the Free Press, to the actual Doncaster Rovers website. We've got his statement there as well. So we're going to start off with Darren Moore overall. So not just the comments on the match, but he's also made some comments to the Free Press on the hamstring injury to Josh Sims, and also about Joe Wright as well. A little statement about Joe Wright, not like a full paragraph or something like with Josh Sims, but he has made a statement about Joe Wright. So of course, congrats to Joe Wright for being on commentary for the Rovers TV for last night's game. But is Wright fit for Burton? Well, we'll have a look. So let's talk about firstly Moore's comments on the game. So speaking first to the Free Press, I've got the comments in front of me. He said, basically, this first set of comments revealed he was looking for Rovers to prevent Swindon from settling into their defensive shape, just as we did against Gillingham the previous weekend. So, again, it's like the same tactic. And he officially said to the Free Press, because the onus was on us to go and win the game, there was a time when they got back into their shape, and it seemed that the game was slow. I didn't want us to fall into that slow trap. Part of my frustration was wanting us to move the ball really quickly and staying on it. That's where we've needed to not get joined to that. We've got to stick to our game plan. Part of it was moving it quicker, and just felt at times the game was a little bit flat, and I didn't want that because the onus was on us to win it. So that was his comments on sort of, you know, the game plan from the Gillingham match and going into the Swindon match. You know, they didn't want to fall into a slow trap. And I think he was 100% correct with that. I think that we didn't need to fall in any kind of trap. I think that we need to try and get out of the blocks as quick as possible. But, unfortunately, it did take about half an hour, 35 minutes for them to settle into the game for Swindon to get some chances in. And we then tried to play our way, you know, end of the first half into the second half. And, you know, overall, I think that Moore was correct with those kind of statements. So, hopefully, you know, we can get out the blocks a lot quicker against Burton Albion on Saturday, which hopefully, fingers crossed, will be the case. In terms of making comments on how pleased he was with the tenacity of the Doncaster Rovers team, overcoming a scrappy opening to win the game 2-1, he did say to the Free Press, all round the team was dogged, couldn't pronounce it then, and we've come away with the 3 points. It was a scrappy game at times, two teams trying to get the ball down and play, two teams sometimes needlessly giving the ball away, and at times both teams displayed some good passages of play, but unfortunately we took the chances when they came. And I think that's a right sort of evaluation of how Rovers played in that game last night. I think that it was a case of scrappy opening, need to find our feet, we started spraying the passes together, getting the runs going, getting the chances going, and then eventually it'll come. And then, of course, we conceded that late penalty after the couple of goals in the second half from Reece James. And, of course, there are comments about Reece James and also from Reece James to speak about in this video as well. But Darren Moore, again, with those set of comments, 100% correct with that one. We also have comments on Reece James's performance from Darren Moore. He officially said, Reece James is in form at the moment. He's been a really good utility player for the team. When we've played further forward, he's shown us he's got an eye for goal. He's an important player because of the different roles he can play, playing in defence, the midfield. We've seen him play across the front line. In all those positions, he looks comfortable when shown his versatility. I saw less ability in him when I first came to the club, and looking at him and the type of player he is, I thought that he's equally as good higher up the pitch. I never hesitate putting him in there. That's the most exciting thing from that statement about Reece James from Darren Moore, the fact that he doesn't hesitate playing him there. Reece James last night was like watching Ryan Giggs. It was just playing as a winger, running down that wing and getting the goals. It reminds me of Ryan Giggs, it reminds me of Gareth Bale, it reminds me of Cafu, it reminds me of all those world-class talents. Reece James was a brilliant performer last night, and thank God we've still got him. Thank God. So, you know, hopefully he can improve again on Saturday against Burton, but overall last night was a brilliant performer. Now, looking at some more comments, now this is about patience against Swindon. Now, he did say at times the game felt very scrappy, and we needed to get the good passage of play, and we took our chances when they presented themselves to us. We had to be patient when they were out of possession, and they thought we were a credit to ourselves. The onus was on us to win the game, and it was tough with how Swindon set up. We had to be patient and keep moving with the ball. They've been very unfortunate in their previous games when they've lost. I expect them to start climbing up the league soon because they are a good team. So he did put some decent respect on the Swindon team because they were a good team. They did put us under a lot of pressure, especially in the first half. But, you know, overall we did overcome the game, and I think Darren Moore was 100% on the money with those comments. He did put in some comments to the Free Press now. Obviously, the last two comments about Reece James and about the Swindon team, that was both from the Doncaster Rovers website and the official, you know, statement. These next comments on the Free Press are about the injuries to Sims and Wright. So basically he said with Josh Sims, it's too early to say after he came off. We'll see on Wednesday, which is today of course, but it might be a couple of days before he settles down. So I've got a feeling if he's going to come back for Burton, I think he's going to be on the bench. I don't think he's going to start Burton. Definitely not start. And I think he'll just be on the bench. I think Taylor will probably start, in my opinion. I think Taylor will be the one that starts. But it should be interesting to see, you know, Sims will be on the bench on Saturday against Burton. It should be an interesting one to watch, but we'll see what happens with that one. He did go on to say it was a blot on the evening, really. It was disturbing, but we'll see what happens next in a couple of days, brings and go from there. Just so we're getting one or two back off the treatment table. Hopefully we don't lose the bodies we have on the pitch. We need as many bodies as we can, as we're short as it is already. Losing players is not something we want at this stage of the season. 100% correct, and this is where January transfer window comes in for extra backing. I know that the board are going to give more the backing for extra signings here and there. Now, in terms of Joe Wright, I can officially say that he has revealed that Joe Wright will be fit and ready to play Burton Albion on Saturday. Now, this is where the dilemma comes in. This is where the strange scenario comes in. Is Joe Wright going to start? Because Anderson did alright last night and against Gillingham. Andy Butler was as strong as ever, but will Butler start? Anderson will probably start because he's vice captain, but will Butler start on Saturday, or will they immediately put Joe Wright in? Or are they going to keep Taylor on the bench if Sims isn't starting? Are they going to put Halliday on the right wing opposite James? They're going to play Danny Amos at left back and put Joe Wright at right back because he can play at right back. We've seen him play a couple of times at right back, Joe Wright. So, you know, is that going to be the way they're going to move forward? Are they going to play Anderson and Butler right on the right? Right on the right. The price is right. And are they going to start Danny Amos again on the left and then James left wing, Halliday right wing? It's an interesting scenario, but not one that's completely out of the question if Sims isn't starting and Taylor isn't starting as well. But I'll put my prediction team together before Friday and I'll release that on the match preview on Friday. But at the minute, I've a gut feeling they may put Wright at right back and put Halliday on the right wing, so they can keep Taylor on the bench, maybe Sims on the bench as well, James on the left wing, Amos on the left back. So I reckon they could go with that maybe. Who knows? Now in terms of Reece James, he did put some comments out on the Doncaster Rovers website about his performance, and we can officially reveal to you what he said. He said on his performance, I got a bit of a lucky break with the first one, but I'll take any goal that comes my way. Luckily, they both gone in. I do a lot of work in training on making those types of runs and getting myself into positions where I can get a shot on goal. Other players open up space with their own runs that allows me to get in there and try and cause problems. 100% agree. That's what he did last night. And in terms of commenting on Rovers showing again they can win games in different ways after making it 3 wins on the bounce, he said it was a quick start to the second half and the gaffer wants us to get on the front foot. We show what we were capable of. Teams changed the way they play to handle us. For us, it's about dealing with that and finding ways to win games. We've got to take responsibility and be comfortable on the ball. It's just making sure that we're working hard as a team. 100% agree, Reece James. 100%. And I mentioned this in the review last night. There's no wonder Reece James was so good last night. I knew this guy was a good player. He stepped into Rovers and was one of the best left-backs in a few years now. And I said it in the review last night. I listed off his achievements. He's been a Huddersfield player, a Wigan player. He's been a 2-time under-21 champion with Manchester United. There's no doubting he is a wonderful player and a brilliant signing for this club a couple of years ago. And he will still grow. He's 27, I believe, and he'll still grow. So Reece James has still got a lot to deliver over the next few years. He's still got a lot to deliver us. And I've got no doubt that Reece James is going to be a wonderful player in the next few years. Still, you know, even into the early 30s, he'll still be a wonderful left back for us and a winger as well as a CDM, because he can play CDM as well. He's so versatile. He can play in goal, and he could make 6 saves, and we'll win 4-0. You know, he's such a versatile player. I said it last night. He's as versatile as a transformer. You know, he's so versatile. He's our new Cafu. And, you know, he put in a great shift last night, and the comments were 100% correct. So let's move finally into the player ratings, which we didn't do on last night's show, but we're going to do it on today's show. So starting off with Lumley, I've put down a 6 out of 10. Overall, didn't have much to do, but the stuff he did do, he did alright with. So, you know, I'll give Lumley credit for that. Penalty, you couldn't do much about it. So, you know, I think Lumley overall didn't have that much to do, but that's probably credit to the attackers as well. Brad Halliday, I'm going to give him a 7. I think that overall, you know, there were some shaky moments in the first half a couple of times, but I think that overall Halliday was a wonderful performer. I think he put in some incredible runs, some incredible blocking. He was involved in the penalty incident. Some people are saying Anderson, some people are saying Halliday. I think Sky Sports even said Butler. So, you know, that everyone's confused about who was involved. But Anderson did side his left foot. Didn't think there was much contact, so I still stick to my beliefs. I didn't think that was a penalty still. But Halliday, you know, was around the area at the time, so, you know. But overall, I think that Halliday had a decent game. Tom Anderson, speaking of Anderson, I'm going to give him a 6. Again, not much to do, but when he did do it, it was alright. Andy Butler, 7. I think he was an unbelievable performer on that game last night. I think he was a brilliant defender, solid at the back, the things that he had to do, and I think that overall Butler did really, really well. Danny Amos, I'm going to give him a 7. It's close to being an 8, though. I think Danny Amos put in an excellent shift at left back last night. I think that he's really pushing to be the future of that left back position, especially if Reece James is going to be more of an attacking player as well. Some people said it. I think it's very clear at times that he's trying to be shoehorned into like a left attacking midfield position or a left wing position, or try and versatile his play, kind of like Ashley Young, but the reverse, because of course Young was a left midfielder that turned to a left back, and I think with Reece James it's coming from left back to left mid. So I think with Reece James going into that position a bit more as well, I think that Danny Amos is going to put in decent shifts on the left back's position. So I think Danny Amos put in a good shift last night, and I've got no problems with Danny Amos. I think he's really earning his minutes at the minute. Into the midfield then, we're going to go on to Matt Smith. I'm going to give him a 6. Put in an alright shift, nothing too special, but overall did quite well. Ben Whiteman, 7. Captain, leader, legend, led from the back, absolutely brilliant. Defensive midfielder, held his own, and I think overall had a decent shift. James Coppinger, gave him a 6. He lost possession a few times in the first half, but I think overall an okay performance. Hopefully, you know, we'll get him to, I think I saw something on Twitter this morning that was like, we're going to get close to, I think we're going to get to 500, I think it's something like, no, it's not 500, it's like 800 senior appearances or something like that, either 800 or 700 senior appearances on Boxing Day. So I think, no, it's 800, I think it's 800. So I think it's something like 800 senior appearances when we hit Boxing Day if he keeps going the way he's going. So whether we hit that or not, we don't know. But we'll see with that one. But I think Coppinger is a great legend for this club, and I hope that he continues to improve his performances throughout the season, especially as we go into the second half of the season. It's probably the second half of his last season as a Donny Rovers player, so we'll see what happens with that one. Let's go into the wings now. Reece James, 9. 100%, no doubt, a 9 for me. He was the man of the match, best player on the field, and he was just all over the pitch. He was literally putting people in his back pocket. He emptied them last night, and he saw all the Swindon players at the bottom of his pocket. You know, Reece James was wonderful on the night, and I think he was my man of the match, 100%. Comment down below if you think Reece James was man of the match as well. Josh Sims, before he came off, I gave him a 7. I think he did alright before he got injured. He was putting in a decent shift, and I think the injury hopefully isn't too serious. And finally, Tyrese John Jules, I gave him a 6, because I think that overall he could have had a couple of chances, but overall I think he put in an okay shift without scoring any goals. Moving into the substitutes, Cameron John, I gave him a 6, nothing too much to shout about. Taylor Richards, 7. Physical as soon as he came onto the field, so I think overall Richards put in a decent shift when he came on. John Taylor, 7, again put in a decent shift when he came on. Is it still too early to start him? We don't know, but overall I reckon that John Taylor could be ready to start on Saturday against Burton, if not the next game against Shrewsbury on the Tuesday. And finally, Fajiri Okunabiri gets a 6 from me. Again, nothing too much to shout about. So let's go into our final story today then on the news show. Don't forget, we do have another news show hopefully tomorrow if there's more stuff coming out from Rovers. We've got loads of Premier League games to watch tonight. I'm going to be watching Arsenal-Southampton tonight, so hopefully that'll be a good win for Southampton, because let's face it, Arsenal aren't going anywhere at the minute. No offence to AFTV, shout out to the guys at AFTV, they do brilliant stuff. But let's go into our final story, speaking of the Premier League, and that is the potential Premier League, League One and Belgium interest and Championship interest in one of our former players from the previous season. Now, you guys that are Rovers fans that have been around for a few years, you guys will remember Max Waters. Young kid, got a lot to learn, but he's been putting in a decent shift since he joined Crawley this season. He has now got interest, and he's apparently the price tag Crawley you're going to be putting on him is £1 million. Now, should we go for him next season or in January? I don't know. Let's have a look at all the information before we start discussing things. So basically, if you want to know more about exactly who's interested, the reports are saying that West Brom, of course, this morning have sacked Slaven Bilic, and the most likely replacement, if not already confirmed by the time this video goes out, will be Sam Allardyce. But West Brom, Watford from the Championship, there's also other League One interest, but no clubs have been mentioned. Now, according to the Daily Mail, it's West Brom and Watford, but also there is League One and Belgium interest. So again, we don't have any specific clubs with League One or Belgium, but we know West Brom's interested, Watford's interested. Crawley, now they want to activate a clause in the contract of Waters, which extends his deal until the summer of 2022, giving them a stronger-handed club showing interest. But it's also been speculated that the League Two side are holding out for £1 million. That is the price tag apparently for Max Waters. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but should we have taken a chance with Waters? Should we have kept him and put him into the first team? Now, I know that we signed the likes of Lakilo, Sims, Smith, we signed loads of players, Tulloch, John Jules. We signed loads of players. But should we have still given Max Waters a chance? If not, should we go back in for him in the summer next year? For next season, if we're promoted to the Championship, should we go back in for Max Waters and using the money from League One promotion potentially, along with some extra funds if we go far in the FA Cup, if we beat Blackburn in January, and further rounds, etc. Who knows? We might beat Blackburn in the third round. They might go to round 4. We might draw Arsenal. We might beat Arsenal. And who knows? If we go far in the FA Cup and get promoted from the League One to the Championship this year, should we go back in for Max Waters and pay the projected £1 million? Is it a worth deal taking? Is it a deal worth taking? And I think that with Lakilo being a permanent signing, with Tulloch, who plays on the wings, being a temporary, with Sims at the minute being a temporary signing, but I'm sure that'll get extended until the end of the season. Hopefully, since he's out of contract at Southampton, we should pay for a free transfer for Josh Sims. John Taylor, he's a permanent signing. We need to tie him down on a brand new contract. So Sims and Taylor, forget Sims permanently, Taylor on a new contract, that's 2 wingers already, along with the Kilo to make it 3. Tulloch goes back to West Brom, forget about him. So we've got three permanent wingers. What's to do with one more? Why don't we get a 4th one? Okunabiri is a wide forward, realistically, not a striker out and out, not an out and out number 9. I think that Okunabiri is better as a winger or a wide forward. But should we get Max Waters as a 4th option? Lakilo, he's got time to develop. He's behind the likes of Taylor and Sims, but I think Waters is another player I think we should go in for. Comment down below if you agree. But I reckon Max Waters, if he's got interest from the Premier League, from the Championship, from Belgium, from other clubs in League One. If he's got a £1 million price tag, I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is like a winger version of the Ollie Watkins story. You look at Ollie Watkins, Exeter City, moves to Brentford, now he's at Aston Villa, and he's absolutely shining in the Premier League. Jacob Ramsey, he was on loan from us from Aston Villa last season, before the pandemic sort of cut the League One season short. If Ramsey's now starting in the Premier League for Aston Villa, could we go in for Waters and give him a chance? I think we should. I don't think it's too late with Max Waters. Now, I think January is going to be a big month for this club. Absolutely massive month, because we've got Halliday, Wright, Taylor, James, all needing brand new contracts. They go into the last 6 months next month. So we need to tie all 4 of them players down to a brand new contract. Liam Ravenhill, he's got interest from the Premier League. We need to get him on a professional contract ASAP. Sims, I want to sign that guy permanently. I want to give him a permanent contract once his Southampton contract's up next summer. So I want to see Sims in permanently. I want to see a couple of other players permanently. Maybe Richards from Brighton. Maybe Matt Smith comes in permanently from Man City. Who knows? But I would like to see, as part of that, us try and go in for Max Waters, because I think he could be a brilliant player. Look what he's doing for Crawley. Look at what he's doing. Look at the way he's playing. Look at the best position he's playing, and take that knowledge, bring it in, and utilise him the best way possible. Because I think with Max Waters, there's a real potential here to utilise him to the best of our ability. And Max Waters could be a really good player for this club. So I would buy Max Waters next summer. Comment down below if you agree, but I would buy Max Waters. So, you know, that's all for this episode of the show. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have more stories to discuss with you guys. Obviously the next game will be Saturday against Burton, so we'll have a match preview on Friday, so stay tuned for that. And for now, guys, thank you very much for watching this episode. My name is Aaron from Forever Rovers, and that, my friends, is full time.